Okay. Relax, old man. Relax. First of all, we've already discussed that you're a phony Cowboys fan because you were rooting for the Eagles
No, I'm
of all
100%.
teams.
100%.
Right, but why would you root for somebody in your division? Let's
It's
be let's be se-
my brother who passed was an Eagles fan, and I'm going for the Eagles out of respect for him.
uh,
I'm better than you. You know, y'all young people, they'll just jump from team to team to team to
nah.
team. Whoever's winning, whoever won the Super Bowl, that's my team. That's my second best team.
Nope.
You know,
Nope.
Cowboys fans only got one
I
team.
have been a Carolina fan since they've been
I'm
introduced into
sorry
the
about
league.
that.
I'm sorry about that too. You know, yeah. I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
if you want to go to the stat sheet, we can go to the stat sheet.
Oh yeah, we got
Okay,
these,
yeah,
and you got
okay.
these.
So let's look at this. How many Super Bowl appearances have you had since 2000? Oh, these.
Okay.
And how many have we had? Oh yeah, okay. when
Yeah,
have when have when have the
how many
Cowboys been
wins?
relevant outside of the media talking about them because they're America's team? Oh,
How
okay.
many wins?
Hmm?
How many wins?
How many did you have? How many have you went to? How many?
We went to more. We probably
But
went
you've
to
been around
7,
longer.
and we
You've
got
been around
5.
for 100 years, just like your age. You've been around for 100 years. I'm not hearing that.
Man, yo, yeah. What's your second best team? We don't
I don't
have a
have a
second best
second best.
team.
I don't have a second best
Oh,
team.
okay.
I don't have a second best team. Now, if we were saying like if it's the team I like in the
Kansas
AFC,
City.
like
Nobody knew about Kansas
no, I
City.
don't. I'm not a Kansas City.
Because
Honestly,
Mahomes.
I would say I'm more of in the AFC. I'm more of a Chargers or Raiders fan.
Chargers good team.
Yeah,
Chargers good team.
like those are the
But
two
it's not
teams.
the
I just like their
Cowboys.
jerseys, the Chargers jerseys, the powder blues, the
Right.
powder blue jerseys. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like the quarterback for the Chargers. I forgot his name, but he seems pretty smooth. I like his what do you call it? His mojo. His mojo.
We're not bringing that back. We're not bringing that back. We're not bringing that back. Don't do that. Don't do
I'm
that to
just
the
saying.
people. Don't do that to the people listening to this podcast. Don't do that to them.
What would you young people call it?
You know what we
when
call it?
when it's school,
Swag.
swag. That's swag. Swag. That's that's right. Yeah,
Mojo.
swag. I like it swag.
Okay. That you're just showing it.
Well, I'm just gonna let you know.
Yeah,
Today's topic. Today's topic is on me.
Yeah, I know. It should be. And I told them that we're gonna fall asleep during this podcast. So
that's right. And I will put you where you need to be on the stump.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I'm on the porch.
Right.
With this is right. You no, not on the stump, on the stoop. On the stoop. I'm in the rocking chair.
Right.
Giving you knowledge.
Yelling at people to get off your lawn.
This is what this podcast
getting all worked up because somebody's on your lawn. You can't do anything because you know they outrun you.
No. This is the old school. And people out there, you know what I'm talking about. This is how it used to be. You know, you had the grandma, grandpa, mother, on the porch.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even build porches anymore, do they?
Yes, they do.
Do they build? Oh, okay.
They do.
But do people sit on them anymore and have those conversations about life?
It depends on where you're at. Depends on where you're at.
Well, that's where you're at today. You're on the stoop.
I'm
in that rocking chair, and I'm going to enlighten you on this topic today.
Okay. Well, we're waiting.
So, it's DV, domestic violence.
Okay. I mean, you're driving the seat. This is your week.
Absolutely, and I'm driving it, and I'm gonna tell you something.
Make sure you have your glasses on because we can't have you on the road where you can't see.
This topic is so broad, especially so relevant in your era because y'all guys don't know how to handle diversity.
Handle diversity?
Oh, a young lady disagrees with you, want to put hands on them. You want to get all in their face. Hey, in some cases, you want to kill them. You want to kill them and their kids.
Mm-hmm.
Man, where have we lost? Where was the disconnect between the youth and the men of old, where we know how to resolve situations? Now, I'm not saying it didn't happen in
I
our
mean,
era,
do we
but
really?
we're not killing a whole family behind it
Mm-hmm.
and ourselves.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Why has it gone to this point, Tack? You young people, why has it gone to this point?
it's not us. Don't even start. Don't even start there. It goes back to the origin. Let's go. Let's rewind back the clock. Let's rewind back the clock, shall we? This whole DV thing. I think that started in the whole drug era
Really?
around your time frame, right? You know, the cocaine and all everything like that. Oh, I'm gonna get high on some drugs. Let me go home and beat my wife just because I feel like it. You know, am I wrong? Am I wrong? Tell me I'm yeah, that's why you can't
I'm
say
just saying.
that's why you can't say it all
But
starts with you.
everybody who's doing it didn't come from a home of drug addicts. Come on now,
They
come
have
on.
to learn
Let's
from
let's be
somebody.
real.
They learn it from somebody.
Oh, so you saying
I'm saying
every home?
they learn it from somebody. We learn stuff from the previous generation, do we not? So
Okay.
you can't
What
sit there
about
and
learning
say that
about
it's just
being
us.
responsible? Hold on a second. What about the
Mm-hmm.
good stuff? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
you want tend not to remember that.
What good
Being
stuff?
responsible, being a man,
Mm-hmm.
knowing what it takes to be a man.
Mm-hmm.
But the negative, oh, you remember that.
No,
Oh, that you were taught that.
we know the good stuff. It's just that
Really?
the good stuff that you guys have tried to teach us, things have caught up
You don't want
now.
to hear that.
No, things have caught up now. So the tables have turned. It's not so much, oh, the male's the breadwinner, this, that, and the third. So you got to learn how to navigate the waters a little bit better than what you could do back in your era, where it's just come home, put your hat on the little hat rack, put your briefcase down, you got dinner ready and everything like that. That's a little bit more nuanced nowadays. It's not just, oh, I'm just gonna go ahead and do what I want to do.
What you say? So you got the right to beat them? Put your hands on
No
another
one's talking
woman?
about
Oh,
beating. What I'm saying is the good stuff. We're talking about being a man, right? Being the head of the household. I'm
that's
saying
right.
that times have changed, so you got to learn how to navigate those waters a little bit more now. That's all. So I don't know what you're talking
So
about.
why the numbers going up? Why
Mm-hmm.
are the numbers going up in your era
Mm-hmm.
compared to when I was growing up?
You want me to be real right now? Because most of y'all probably
Yeah, be real. Hey,
you
we
what
here. We
no,
here.
because most of y'all
What you gonna
probably aren't
do?
around
What you
anymore,
gonna
so there's
talk
no
about?
numbers. Most of y'all aren't around anymore, so there ain't no numbers to take from y'all's era because you had all the
No,
drugs and
no.
everything in your system. That hippie era, you know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. That whole era y'all grew up in. So
So what's the excuse? Okay. If you want to go on that platform,
Mhm.
what's the excuse now?
Excuse for what?
The numbers,
Hmm.
the high numbers. You said drugs were
Hmm.
in my era.
Hmm.
What is the excuse now?
Excuse for what? Oh, you talking about the DV?
Yes, yeah, domestic violence. What's it? Yeah, why?
I mean, at the end of the day, if you want to call a spade, what you said, right? No mother
Uh,
or no father figure in the home. So I'm thinking no father figure in the home. So my generation. So that means a father figure from your generation wasn't in the home to teach us how to do things.
also, you
Oh,
were playing the generation before.
I mean, if you want to go that route, you talking about. So what about the numbers now?
But,
And
but
I'm using your logic that you said in a previous podcast. We got to have the mother and the
absolutely,
father in the home. So
absolutely,
people in
I
my
agree.
generation, if people in my generation are supposedly doing a lot of domestic violence and everything now, that would tell me that there wasn't somebody in that person's household to teach them the right way to do things.
So that's what you're going to base it on.
I mean, it's the logical explanation, right? It's the
And I agree because there is something that's going on that is creating these numbers that you got men that can't accept being rejected or being say, hey, it's not working out and moving on. So based on that, the men not being in the home, what are the men getting that is creating this?
I think it splinters into a lot of different things, to be honest with you. Outside of, what you stated, I'm using your own information against you.
Well,
So
we get it.
what you stated, and then I think that whole era of just put some dirt on it, not being able to express your emotions and stuff as a man. I think
You
that,
need to be able to express your
but I'm
emotions. Is that
saying
what you?
when you grow up from that era, I can tell you right now, in the '90s, was just like put some dirt on it. You'll be fine. You cry and you're
Be a
considered.
man.
Exactly.
Be a
If
man.
you cry, you're considered weak and everything like that. So
Be a
basically,
man.
you're not able to express your emotions. Like if you're frustrated, angry, you're supposed to just keep it inside and let it, just tuck it away. And I think now that people are getting to this, my age or older, that the walls are starting to break on that. So it's those years of, people constantly beating on that emotional wall that you're supposed to have up as a man, as a man. I guess more so in my era. And now the generation behind me, that's not the case. I think they're more expressive with their emotions and things like that. But my generation specifically, it was more like that's what was taught. Like that's what you go through when you're growing up in high school, you're going to elementary school, things like that around other kids.
Really?
I'm just letting you know. You can sit there and say
It is. It is. That is what it takes to be a man.
right.
You can't be driven by your emotions.
But if you don't express how you feel, that would eat you up inside, and then you end up doing something worse. Is what we're getting to right now. So if you don't express yourself or vent or whatever you need to do, and you just bottle it up and toss it away, it's going to come back. It's going to
No,
come
no,
back.
no, 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 no,
Okay.
no, no.
I mean,
No, no. The fact that they can't handle their emotions is a reason why
and the
we
reason why they
getting
can't
we're
they
getting
and the reason why they can't handle their emotions is because they've been told majority of their life is that
feel
if you
whatever you
display
feel
any
is
type
okay.
of if you display any type of emotion growing up, put some dirt on it. You're not supposed to cry. You're supposed to be a man. Put some dirt on it, whatever the case may be. Then okay, if I'm not supposed to express anything, and this person that I'm in a relationship
Really,
with,
Pat?
look, man, I'm letting you know what it is right now. You asking me why it is, and I'm telling you how it
I'm
is.
listening. I'm listening. I'm saying, really? So you saying if
Mm-hmm.
somebody bottles up and controls their emotions,
That's not controlling. You just bottle it up. You don't display anything. That's what I'm saying. A lot of people were, a lot of, and I can go ask a bunch of people in my high school when we were growing up, we weren't supposed to display any type of emotions or anything like that. You're supposed to bottle up, be a man, be tough as nails or whatever the case may be.
ooh, you should
So,
be.
but I don't think you're understanding what I'm getting at. If you can't vent your anger, your frustrations, and things like that,
Get into another man.
nobody's gonna listen. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody's gonna
No,
let
today they
me
don't want to listen to it because
today.
they
But
they
what that?
think
But you asked me my generation, right? So my
right.
generation, we bottle it up and we don't
Mhm.
talk about it. So that's the issue. When you don't talk about it and you have years, 10, 15, 20 years of that shit going on, excuse me, that stuff going on, and then something happens, it's just that snapping point. And then unfortunately, that may be the person that you're with or whatever the case may be. All those demons come rushing out and you end up getting to what, those situations you may have. That may be that's an instance of it. I'm not saying that is the typical rule, but
Right.
a lot of times it's from those people not being able to express themselves or convey their emotions. They just sit there and just take the brunt of it. They just keep taking it and whatever. And nobody really. That's why you see people, committing suicide and things like that. It splinters off into so many different things.
Yeah, absolutely
So
they
that's
do
what
it.
I'm talking about.
They kill everybody and then they kill themselves into you. But see, when we were growing up, you took it. And even I'm not saying that domestic violence back then is any different
Mhm.
physically, emotionally, financially, in any way. It's still the same. It still affects each person the same way. It's how you handle it.
Right, but there's also a lot more societal pressures, I think, now than there was back in your era.
Please tell me,
I
enlighten
mean,
me, young
social
man.
media. Social media.
Oh Lord, here we go again. Social media. Social
That
media. Yeah, you're gonna use that crutch.
it's not a crutch. I'm just saying you have those instances of that stuff being introduced, Facebook, everything like that. So you also have people that may look at, there's just so many different things that can factor into it. All I'm saying is that may be a key. I don't know why these other people may do that, but my logical thing behind that is from what you said. If there's not a man in the home and the person has to be raised up, they don't know how to convey their. So, for instance, you have a kid growing up in the '90s, right? There's no father in the home. He doesn't know how to express himself emotionally. He just has his mom to talk to, but he's not going to know what to say to his mom or think that she's going to understand because it's a guy and a female. So you're sitting there like, well, I can't really say anything to her, even though you should say stuff to your parents regardless. But when it's a kid thinking they're like, I can't really talk to my mom because she's different from me. She might not understand what I'm going through as a guy. So then you have those issues of just sitting there, just holding it, through all your lifetime. And then, like I said, you have that one instance that just triggers everything.
So the importance of a father, you feel makes a difference.
That's what you were saying, right? I'm
No. Do
agreeing
you
with
agree?
what you're saying.
I'm just saying why the numbers are higher
Hmm.
now than they were before.
I
And
think
when it comes to
I don't think it's an absolute to need a father there. I think depending on the mom, if the mom does a good job, she can raise a well-rounded individual.
absolutely,
But
I agree.
having a father there does help. It does help, but it's not an absolute.
That's right. I agree with that. I agree with that. But what I'm saying is the numbers are high, and you're talking about before you don't mess with a kid.
Hmm.
You don't hurt the kids. It's between adults. You know the man might be stupid enough to kill his wife, but he's not going to hurt the kids. Now it's dwindling down to the kids, where kids are dying during these domestic violence instances. And where do you get to the point where you back in the day we didn't do that? We might, back in the days, I like I said, I know people personally got hands put on them. You get slapped, you get hit, physical, but it was never to the extent of taking that person's life and realizing that you taking that person's life, that you really throwing your life away.
Hmm.
And now I'm starting to see suicide behind the offender is committing suicide. So what in the youth is going on? Because daddy's not around? Because social media? Are you kidding me? No. You got to take responsibility. You got to be a man. And the thing is, you got to learn to take a L. Your young men don't know how to take an L,
Hmm.
right?
I disagree with that, but continue.
Yeah, tell me why.
Like I said, it's a lot of different things, but when you're saying social media, this, that, and third, I don't think you
You
understand
said that.
no, no,
You
no, no,
said
no.
social
What I'm
media,
saying is what you just said to me, right? I don't think you
right?
understand the magnitude because you are in the era that you're in of these things that are going on.
Right.
Social media being introduced was a game changer. Yes, it allows you to interact with other people, allows you to keep up with your loved ones, things like that. But it also put pressures on the men and or women, depending on whatever way you want to look at it, by seeing other people like, oh, this is how you're supposed to be as a man at this age, this, that, and the third. Or you see all those little things on Instagram. It's like, oh, this is where my life is at. So you have those societal pressures being compounded on top of the fact that you're taught to be tough as nails and not express yourself or whatever the case may be when you're growing up. So all these things have an impact on creating that person or developing that person's mind as they're growing up. So it's not social media is a really big component of it. It's not something to be, oh, it's just, sweep it under the rug and just forget about it. No, you have access to that 24/7. Nobody can tell you to get off of social media. Like, who's going to tell you to get off social media? We all have phones. We all look at stuff, right? So you're going to be on it 24/7. So when you're looking at it, it's like, dang, this person's my age. He's making, $200,000. I'm over here struggling to make ends meet. And, so then it sets in that depression. That's another layer that you're adding in onto that as you're growing up or whatever the case may be. I'm just saying that you have so many different things that are going into that. Yeah, you may have had it simpler and these people that may have gotten hands, but you didn't have that interaction with the outside world where you can talk to somebody from the comfort of your home all the way across the world or see whatever somebody else is doing across the world. You had that happen on the news and or the papers. It wasn't instant.
So you think that dictates or influences people to be able to,
I don't
I mean,
say
physically or
it gives.
emotionally hurt someone that they love?
I'm not saying it gives them the right to do it. What I'm saying is it has an impact because that also sets in depression. You can be depressed, like people being depressed, like that's another thing from your era. And I'll say like you can't be
Suck it up. You got to suck it up.
and that's exactly what I'm talking about. You saying suck it up, do this, that, and the third. But if somebody isn't in their right mind already,
To hurt everybody else.
no. Listen, if somebody isn't in the right mind already and you're telling them to suck it up and they don't have somebody to vent to, so yeah, of course it's going to be a chain reaction. Something's going to set them off where they're going to go on a killing spree or whatever the case may be. That's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting. And don't just look at it like, oh, well, I'm saying it's real. It's a real thing. It is a real thing. You just have to be.
And that's sad. That's sad. So the thing is, you're talking about because somebody going through depression. Listen, depression is part of life.
Right. But what I'm saying is if all those things are compounded with not having a father, the kid doesn't have somebody there to teach him the right way to do things, how to be a man. He relies on social media. That social media is not going to teach you the right way to be a man. Social media.
No, it's not.
So you have that.
It's not obligated. It's not accountable.
I know,
that.
But you have that, and then you're sitting there going off of what you may think is the right way to be a man, which may be totally wrong. And then you have all these other things. Whoever, some girl may have broke your heart in high school, and now you have a grudge against all women or whatever. I don't know. There's a lot of different scenarios, and I'm not trying to speak for everybody, but I know a lot of the root of the problem.
We can't.
And a lot of the root of the problem is those things that start at an early age or things that aren't accessible to a lot of kids at an early age that help them mature and grow. Not saying that the women are doing a bad job raising the kids, whatever the case may be. They do a
women
wonderful
fall
job.
into this too.
Yes,
women,
they do.
Women are aggressive. Some women are physical,
but But from what I'm understanding, you're making it seems like you're referring to more of the males. So I'm speaking that
absolutely because the numbers are higher with the males compared to females.
That's right. So when you don't have those things growing up, you tend to fall into a specific category right off the bat. You're already behind at that point. You're already behind if you're growing up without a father figure because you don't know how to be a man growing up. So when you get to high school and stuff like that, you're already going to be programmed a certain way, basically. And then if those things happen, because I think the pivotal time for that development is between like 8th and 12th grade.
Okay.
That's usually.
So what do you think should happen 8th and 12th grade that might prevent this?
I mean,
I
can't. There's no way to prevent it because you have to interact with a lot of other people. Only thing I could say would be homeschooling, but you can't homeschool. You can't homeschool like your parents gotta work
because some of the parents don't even know the basics.
Exactly. So there's no real way to stop it. I mean, it's just being aware as a parent and or somebody who even if you unplanned or planned, whatever the case may be, just being there for the kid because that is going to have a huge impact when he's growing up. I mean, that's the best thing you could do is just try to work it out and be there for him. That's that's pretty much all I can say about that.
Well, when I was growing up, which we're still on the porch. you know, we were turnkey. We got home, mom was working, we do what we had to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's to a point where, oh, okay, the expectations are lower now for kids in that same situation. And no, the expectations should be the same or
Right.
even higher
Right.
based on, like you said, social media, technology, and all this other stuff. You a
N-
technology dude.
Now, don't get me wrong. Hold on. I just want to put a caveat on this. I'm not saying that that's going to be the blame for every situation that goes on. There's some people that do have a power trip, an ego, whatever the case may be. Yes, they don't know how to take an L. But I do know a lot of instances where it is the fact that the person may be depressed or whatever, bullied, because those things happen in high school, middle school, high school.
Absolutely.
So you get bullied, you don't have somebody to talk to. It's just it's basically compound interest. You compound an interest until you're ready to until the bank breaks, essentially. So that I just want to put a little caveat on that. There's an exception to every rule as far as that domestic violence is going on, but I do think a lot of it does stem from like fatherless children, or those comparing yourself, you instead
Early
of running.
traumas. Early
Right.
traumas. This is early traumas.
Right.
Absolutely. And the thing about it is not knowing how to deal with stuff.
Right.
Uh, the control factor that, okay, I'm the man, I'm in control. Now, hey, being an old gentleman, yes, we are the head of our house, but we knew how to be the head. You're talking. This is what I'm thinking. I'm seeing in the youth. I'm not saying I'm correct. I'm seeing that people want that role, but don't know how to do the job.
Mm-hmm. Go on.
And
So what is that?
and
So if they don't know how to do the job, what?
then they, what do you want to call it? Assume what it takes to be in that position.
Right.
Like if the woman or the man corrects them, the first thing is physical, probably physical. And then you got an emotional side to this thing
Mm-hmm.
where you degrade the person, you put them down, and that to the point where, oh, nobody wants you but me. And you, you I'm not saying that even the strongest person can fall prey to this, but you got to understand that you love you, and your value is not based on somebody else. Your value is based on you.
Mm-hmm.
And then when kids get involved, when you have kids with someone in a domestic violence situation, that just compounds it. Where now the kids, another set of loved ones are involved in this. So it's not just about you.
Mm-hmm.
So I say all that to say this to the young men out there. Listen, you don't have the right to raise an adult. You putting your hands on someone just because you're angry, you don't have the right to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter if you're a woman on a male or a male to a female. You don't have the right to put your hands on anyone. If you can't just talk about a
Unless it's
disagreement
self defense,
or
because
something.
that's
Oh
gotten a
yeah,
lot.
yeah.
That's gotten a lot of people in trouble too. That whole you never hit what.
Listen,
That's no, I'm just saying that whole you never hit women, all this, that, and the third.
oh
I'm
no,
like,
no, no.
the way I've always been taught, if she swings like a man, you go treat her like a man. That's the way it goes down over here. No, we don't do that. Mm-mm.
So if a woman slap you, you gonna slap her
No,
back?
slap me. No, I'm saying like if she goes with a bald fist,
On
like if she
this,
slapped me, I'm not really thinking anything. Like if she tries to do physical harm outside of like a slap
right,
or something like that, oh, it's going
right.
down. Like I'm doing a one hit KO. Like that's it. But I'm not gonna sit there and be that's gonna be my first resort. I'm gonna diffuse the
That's right. That's
situation and everything like that. But if I see you ball up that fist and you going to hit, no.
right. But men in my day, we take it.
Right. But see that's not it. That's
we
not it.
we take it. We like, oh, okay, hey, stop. I'm not gonna let you beat me down, but
Exactly.
I'm gonna
But
take.
yeah, that first hit, at least you did. Because if you got a glass jaw and that hits you and you out, she's stomping you out. Then what?
I hope I don't deal with a woman that's gonna stump me out.
I'm
Yeah,
just saying. You
right.
you say you take that hit, but if you got a glass jaw, you take that hit and you knocked out.
See, that's a problem. No man should have a glass
You
jaw.
don't. Nobody knows that. You're not gonna know you have a glass jaw till you get hit. I'm just
That's
saying.
right. So you should have been hit a lot of times
Mm-mm,
before you got married.
mm-mm.
Listen, that's why it is importance of learning how to protect yourself. Because a lot of these men don't know how to fight. And I said that in the other podcast. They don't know how to fight. So any kind of aggression, it doesn't matter where it's from, it's taken as equal. If it's from a woman, it's equal. If it's from a kid, it's equal. Because they don't know. They never fought a mano, man to man.
I mean, were you expecting a response from me for that? I'm just listening to
I,
what you have to. You cut. You hold on. You're cutting out.
that's
You were cutting out. What'd you say?
okay. That's what I see
Mm-hmm.
from the youth,
Mm-hmm.
that they don't know how to fight. When I was growing up, the guy said, "Hey, you had an argument, just an argument." They said, "Oh, get the gloves," and they surround, made a little
So
square,
who
and
is
you go bam, 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 until somebody wins. That's it.
who
And
is
then you know
carrying
what?
around boxing gloves to stop? That's how I
Hey,
know you foolish. That's how I know you on some stuff. Talk about carrying
I'm
around the
just saying.
gloves.
No, they had gloves. We had gloves. We didn't always have gloves, but at a certain point, they did. And they were like, okay, you just get in an argument. Hey, just take it to the ring. Drew the square out, and you go at it. And you know what? You're still friends the next day.
I don't
You
believe
live
that.
another
That
day.
I don't believe that. I don't believe
I
that
tell
you.
you, that's
I don't
happening.
believe that your
Hey,
friends.
anybody, I was like, anybody watching this podcast and you know me, you grew up with me, please put it in the comments.
I don't believe that
Please,
whole you
please,
get in a fight.
please put
I
it
can
in the comments.
understand.
I'm
I
not
can
making this
understand.
up. Please
I
put
can
it in the
understand
comments.
that if it's like your friend and you get in an argument with them, but not some random person. Oh, we fight now. We're friends.
Random persons, people in the neighborhood, because we didn't have cars and stuff to go outside the neighborhood very seldom at a certain day. But if you
But
were
who?
young,
But
what?
I'm just saying. In what? I don't think I've ever in my entire lifetime. I don't think I've ever seen like the kids really all hanging out. Well, like I said, we had more other things to
Right,
do.
right. That's the problem.
How's that a problem?
That's the problem. Because we grew up together, we played together,
Mm-hmm.
we fought together,
Mm-hmm.
we interact, we played football, baseball.
Right, because everybody lived on top of each other in the same neighborhood is what you're trying to say, right? We're compared to, you have thousands upon thousands of people spread out, and you got to talk to people of different races and things like that. It's like, hey, you may not live in my neighborhood, or this person lives 5 blocks down the road, and your parents are like, where the hell you going? And it's like, oh, I want to go. No, you're not. Get your ass, get your butt in here and do your homework, whatever it gets to be. What? Excuse me?
So what's the definition of a community?
A definition of a community
Mhm.
and people, I wouldn't even say in vicinity, people that are have some of the same interests.
And they know everyone.
Mm-mm.
Eh,
They don't
eh,
have to know everybody.
oh,
Mm-mm.
You
Mm-mm.
know everybody that lives around you.
Mm-mm. No,
Oh,
absolutely
you
not.
don't? So how you gonna be a community and you don't know the people next door?
Why would I want to know the
Tell me.
people next door? I'm not trying to get into other people's business because that's how you get involved in stuff that you don't need to be involved in. So, therefore, therefore,
Good point. Good point. Because that's why domestic violence
that
is critical because a lot of people don't want to interfere. They could,
it's
you know,
not a
you can
matter of
see the signs, you can see the signs, but you just don't want to get involved.
if I see the signs, that's something totally different. But a lot of stuff I don't need to know because it's not my business. Like if I see someone and they have a black
A
eye,
black eye.
if I
Yeah.
see someone have a black eye, then I'm gonna be like, oh, okay, so something, I'd be like, hey, try to do something.
But you can hear it too sometimes.
I'm not gonna hit. They have to be screaming bloody murder for me to hear. To those houses, Jay, we're like they have
If
to
she
be
running
screaming.
out the door, if she's running out the door with a black eye, what?
If she's running out the door, then I'm gonna see what's going on if I hear it. But
And
I
then what you
like,
gonna do? What would you do?
mm-hmm, I probably end up calling the enforcement. I'm not gonna sit there and
Yes,
I'm not gonna sit
that's
there and
right.
try to. No, we don't do that. We don't do that here. we,
That's right.
we
That's right.
don't do that
It's
here.
the right thing to do.
Yeah,
Right thing to do.
we're not gonna go out there and try to fight some dude. No,
No,
no.
no, no,
Mm.
no. Because in this, the sad thing about this is, someone puts themselves out there, and that's one of the caveats. Someone puts themselves out there, like the scenario we just talked about, puts themselves in danger, and then that woman's or man's back with that same woman again
That's a
the
toxic
following
relationship.
day.
That's a toxic relationship, and that's a whole nother discussion right
Then
there. That's a psychological
now
thing.
this person's out. Now that person trying to do the right thing is out. And that's one of the things that a lot of people don't. That's that victim that nobody really talks about.
Mm-hmm.
That's a part of domestic violence. It's that victim where they step out, either they lose their life, get injured, or just have to live in a situation where they intervene doing the right thing. Now they're suffering for it,
Mm-hmm.
or their family suffers for it.
Yeah, see,
That's, that's why it's a big thing. It's
I
big
don't
and it's
even,
serious.
I don't know if it's I don't know. I hear what you're saying. I don't know if what you're saying is the direct route for a lot of people. I do know some people. I guess it really wasn't. I guess you could categorize it as domestic, but it was more psychological. Like
Mhm.
one of my friends in college was dating this chick that she was attractive, of course, but she was also crazy. So most of the time, most of the time when you're dealing with those situations, as a person looking on the outside in, like I said, I will offer my opinion when asked, or unless it's like a, it's like a warning sign, like, hey, you need to pay attention because some about to go down and something may happen.
Right.
So every time that they would, get in an argument, he's like, I'm going to leave her, whatever the case may be. And so I guess she would see that and then just pull him back in women. so,
Domestic violence. That's
just
what they
pull him
do.
back in.
That's
And so it was just
men do the same.
it was a repeat cycle. And eventually,
Absolutely.
and then I think this falls for some people that also try to help in these situations. It gets to a point of where you just get tired of it. It's just like, whatever, do what you do. Like you try to help the person out or whatever to get them clear of that person, but they want to be a glutton for punishment to keep going back. So at that point, it's like, what can you do? And I think that may attribute to what you're saying as far as it escalating to the point of where that person may lose their life. But if somebody was there trying to help them, and then the person just basically is spitting in that person's face is trying to help them because they keep going back to the dude that's doing the domestic violence, the person's not going to care anymore at that point. If they're doing it, if they've done it multiple times, like, hey, this person's bad for you, and the person says, and they acknowledge it. The worst part is when they acknowledge it, be like, yeah, I'm gonna leave them, blah blah blah, and then they go right back to them. At that point, it's like I'm beating a dead horse, and I'm not. I, I'm I wipe I wipe my hands of the situation. and then it may escalate to the point of where that person may lose their life, and of course that has a recoil effect on the person that was trying to help them. But you tried to
Absolutely.
do the right thing at the beginning, and there's only so much you can do. So I don't think it gets to the point of where it's just automatic. I'm I'm killing you and the kids. I think it's a
No, no,
I think
no,
it's
no.
a I think it's
It's
that
progressive.
it's that rebound, like, or is it recoil or where you go out, you have the instance, they leave, come back, you have the instance, they leave, go back further, have the instance, leave, then come back further, and then you have the situations that you have, and I think that's usually how it would go. I mean, it's really it's really sad and unfortunate, but in my situation, like, he got out, he left her eventually. Of course, he
He
had to
got
see it
out.
from, yeah,
But some
but
people don't get out. He's
right,
lucky he got out,
but I don't
but
think it was going to get to the point where she was going to. I mean, I don't know,
you
but
never know.
I know. I'm
You
saying I
never
don't
know.
know
Right,
because the
right.
dude he was what, 6'2" and she was 5. I don't, like I said, I don't really know. I don't know how
That's
their
right.
whole relationship worked, but when it got to that point, I was just like, you know what, you're just gonna have to learn for yourself. I tried to help you, and I'm over it because it gets mentally draining on the person that's trying to help, and the person that's trying to help is like, I got other stuff I got to deal with. So I don't know. That's just my 2 cents looking at it from a different perspective instead of it just going straight there. I think it's that multiple instance of, it's like, what do you do?
Well, you do. You like you say, you do what you can, and there's always limits to everything. But you got a situation where you got people, and a lot of times the abuser or that person who's doing, the abuser, as I said before, has issues. It could be psychological or whatever.
Hey,
The way they were brought up, and go ahead.
no, I was just saying. I think that's usually the case. It is most
That's
of the
right.
time it's psychological or some kind of trauma that happened and them growing up or something.
And the thing about it, which seen and pretty much just gather from the news and topics, it's not the process of living in it that is horrible. It's trying to get out of it. Why is that so detrimental compared to you living in it? Once you had enough, that's when I noticed that a lot of people lose their lives. I mean, it paid the ultimate price.
Mm,
And with that being said, that the person who's committing it, male or female, is like have total disregard for their own life. Because you have to get to that mindset to say, I don't care about me.
right.
Why do the youth get to this point where they're so emotionally involved or committed to the point where they say, well, hey, I don't care about who I hurt because I don't care about me anymore. I can't speak for it because I don't think that way.
Hmm. I
Social,
just, no,
social.
it does play a factor. That's not the end all be all, but I think the thing, like I said, it's some traumas, and if they've never had anybody do anything nice for them or something like that, then sometimes it may
Well,
just.
usually they hurt the people who love them,
I
who care
understand that,
about them,
but
who done more
it's
for them.
that trauma from before. And so if they were beaten or something like that, or whatever the case may be, or maybe just nobody did anything nice for them. Maybe they were an outcast in high school, or shunned and everything like that. They were just a punching bag for everybody else. So sometimes it may just take somebody being nice that one time that may just alter that person's trajectory for them saying, "Oh, I don't care," or whatever the case may be. Like, I'm sure there's been instances where somebody was just nice to that person and they were like, "Yeah, I was actually gonna come to the school and or whatever the case may be. But you were nice to me that day, so let me let me rethink.
I mean, I shoot you.
Well, not even that, but let me just rethink,
But
my priorities and everything like that. So I think it's just sometimes it may just fall in that category. We don't know. We don't know what these people were going through or what their mental is. But a lot of times I would attribute it to their upbringing or what was going on prior to them getting to that point. Like I said, there could have been something traumatic that they for the girlfriend that they had or something like that in high school or college or whatever the case may be. We just don't know. But I acknowledge what you're saying as far as the domestic violence, but I would point to the fact that it does go around in a circle. It's a circle. So if the people aren't in place to help the person out to begin with, then that person doesn't have a leg to stand on, and they're just going to have to wing it through the majority of their life, and it might be the wrong way. And with those things, those no one to talk to, or those walls closing in, feels like those walls are closing in on you. You don't have an outlet, and it might just be that one thing to trigger that triggers everything, and that emotional outrage and everything like that.
So now you bring up a very important point: the emotional side of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
That the emotions override everything.
They always do. They always do.
Life.
Emotions will win out 99.9% of the time.
Based on social media, based on dad not in the house, based that mom, females are more emotional who are raising the younger men. So the emotions is a major factor.
Or just the fact that you're not supposed to display any type of emotion. You're supposed to be a man and
that shows control.
I understand what you're saying, but times have changed.
Times have changed, and this is the result we're getting. We're getting young men that can't handle their emotions.
Things may be harder,
and for females too, because
things may be harder for people compared to what it might. If we were to compare,
harder, it's easier now. Technology, you the one bring up technology. Every chance you get, every chance you get, you're old. You bring up technology. You talk about harder. Damn, what?
Okay, so let me just rewind this back for a second. When I say technology, I'm talking about from 2010 forward. 2006.
No, that's
2006. Before then, you didn't really have any of that. Internet was just being invented. So we're still in the same boat. It's still in the same boat, old man. So don't try to act like it was a big change, a big swing. Facebook came around when I started college. So that was 2005. 2006.
But technology, you've put a lot of stuff on technology.
Because a lot of that stuff does impact a lot of people that are growing up. People
don't impact people my age group.
People may have been in a certain mind state, and then when they get to school or college or whatever, they're like, oh, let me try out this Facebook, whatever the case may be. And that just may be a whole nother thing to add on top of whatever else they're going through. But at the end of the day, it still circles back to the original two that made the tango to bring that person into the world. So I'm not trying to hear it.
But every time I hear you go back to this technology and all this stuff, but old school, we didn't do all this. We're not killing kids. We're not, I'm not saying it was no physical or domestic violence back then, but it's totally different now.
No, there was somebody that did it, but that was a major thing.
The numbers are not as high.
Yeah, because you didn't have those things. You didn't have a world glass to look into. But I'm trying to figure out what era or what years or where you're trying to say my generation. So like I said, from
your generation and below you.
the generation below me has access to more stuff than we had.
And they're shooting more and they're killing more
Hey,
in the domestic
I can't
violence.
speak for them. We're talking about your generation against my generation, right? So what I'm trying to tell you,
You represent you and
I do
everything
not.
below,
No,
and
no,
I.
don't do that. Don't do that. No, I don't. No, I don't. I represent the people in my generation and what my mindset is for my generation. The people behind me, we got to get somebody else on here to talk about that. I don't want to represent them. They do their own thing. I am me.
But it's in your area too. The numbers are gone up. You don't understand how to handle your emotions,
Right.
and that's why I'm in the rocking chair on the porch,
Right.
and you're
And
on
you
the
would
stoop,
still do
and
the
I'm
same
trying to
thing.
give you the knowledge
Mm-hmm.
that look, maybe
And
you'll have
you
to
know,
man up,
and you know what we
man up.
say? You know what we say when we hear this? It's like, yeah, whatever,
What?
old man. What are you talking about? Like, yeah.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
just saying,
Mm-hmm.
you have to man up and
And,
stop. Look, if you need help, get help.
oh, that's probably that's
I'm talking about the youth. I'm talking about the
but you're
youth. I'm
saying the
talking about
youth is the
the
ones doing all this, that, and the third. And I literally gave you an example of the reason why they would probably be doing that. So now, if you need help, get help. Well, you think that would have been a key thing to say to somebody that you were bringing up that you were maybe seeing that might have had some issues going on? Is your son you want to talk about it? No. Do you want me to take you to?
I'm just hearing about social media. That's all I hear about. Oh, social media driven. This.
Mm-hmm.
You can get world view.
Because you're just saying generation. I'm like, I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about. But if you're saying my generation, that key thing that you said right there would probably help out a lot of people that are going through some of the stuff they're going through now. It's
And
like,
you're right. Your group and below, because we don't need it. We're here for you to give you knowledge, but you
right.
don't want it.
No, it's not that. It's that when we try to tell you something, you act like we don't know what we're talking about, or we try to be like, "Hey, this going wrong with me." Oh, just toughen up, son.
What's
Put
going wrong with what?
there's something going on. Oh, just toughen up, son. Put some dirt on it. You'll be fine. Put some dirt on it. Like that's really gonna help. You really just go put the.
So when you need a hug, you need
They
a
might.
hug.
They might.
You need a hug.
They might. I don't
You need
know.
a little pat on the
But if
back.
somebody comes,
You need a kiss on the cheek. You
if
know, I mean,
somebody
come
comes,
on, man.
and that's what I was talking about, bro. You want to know why? You want to
Come
know
on,
why?
man.
It's that exact thing right there. That whole you just gotta toughen up, be a man. There's that and dirt. I'm like, yeah,
Somebody has to be.
there's a time and a place for everything, but you also have to be able to show some emotion at some point.
Oh yeah, we show emotion,
Uh-huh.
but you know what? You don't have to show emotion for everything. And
No, I'm
when
not
you
saying
do show it,
everything.
it means
But
something.
if the person is getting picked on, bullied, this, that, and the third, and they want to come talk to
Okay,
you,
I'm supposed to cry with them.
no, and they want to. If a kid is getting picked on and bullied,
You
and they
show them
come
how to
talk to,
be these. You show them how to
right,
fight. You show them how
right,
to fight. You say, hey, look, look.
and then when you're burying that kid because he tried to fight,
You know why? You know why you
no.
burying him?
What I'm saying
Because
is,
you know what? Hold on a second. The reason why you burying that kid
mm-hmm.
is because somebody else didn't teach their kid how to fight because he had to use a gun.
But you
He had
taught
to use a gun or a weapon.
your kid how to fight when he told you it's like, hey, this is what's going on. Oh, just go ahead and fight him. You'll be fine. Put some dirt on it. That what? What kind of sense does that make? Why'd you like stepping in and see what's going on instead of just being like just brushing under the rug? I don't understand that. What is this whole brushing under the rug thing going on? Like I don't get that. What is with your generation and trying to brush stuff under the rug? Like, oh, be a man.
It's not brushing under the rug.
Yes, it is. It is brushing under the rug. It's put some dirt on it. Oh, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You don't need to cry. Don't cry. You'll be a sissy if you cry. It's like what? What kind of sense does that make?
I'm just going. I'm gonna point something out to you, young man. Back in the day when I was growing up,
I don't want to hear about your back in the day.
When somebody said your mother,
Mm-hmm.
and they just said those words, your
Mm-hmm.
mother. Those are fighting words.
Yeah, they're still fighting words.
If you man enough, and are they really talking about your mother? They say your mother.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they say. That's fighting words. That's fighting words. So, but I mentioned that to my mother.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, Mom, I'm gonna get into it with this guy because he said, your mother. She said, what are you doing? That doesn't make sense. But it made sense to me that look, I got to represent my mom. Somebody said your mother, hey, the fight is intimate. It's going to happen. It's going to happen, and it did. But I did. My mother didn't look at it the same way I looked at it. So what I'm saying is, when you're a man, sometimes
you about to say something. I'm about to be even careful with these words. I'm about to go in.
When you're a man, and somebody steps out of line, you're gonna have to step up. But that doesn't mean take their life. That means that it's a mano a mano. I might lose this fight, even though I'm pissed off because this person, and I feel that I'm right to stand up for it. And and hold on a second. One thing about social media too, in your realm, is I'm the good guy, so I should win.
What?
I got the right purpose. I'm fighting for the right person. I didn't pick this fight, so I should win this fight.
What?
No.
What are you talking about?
Well, I'm talking about because the person who feels that they are right thinks that they will win.
This is not even remotely close to what we were just talking about. What I'm
But
saying
I'm just trying to say, what I'm saying is, when somebody talk about my mom, I fought.
Right. There's
but
things
I
that
didn't
people are
expect
going
to take their life.
There's things that people are going to fight for regardless. They have morals, they have standards. Yeah, I understand that. But what I'm getting at is, if you have someone who might not be the biggest person, like, let's, for instance, not everybody is Jamal, not everybody is me, not everybody's
I
Tag.
know.
But let's say, for instance, you have somebody who is 5'1" or something like that, getting picked on by somebody 6'4". They try to fight them, they still lose, and they come to you as like, hey,
Absolutely.
this is what's going on, and they're told to just, brush it under the rug, be tough, and just continue to basically get their butt kicked.
No.
That's what I'm saying. It's just like that whole just toughen up and brushing on the rug thing. Like, if they come with a valid reason and they're just dismissed, like, what do you expect is going to happen? Like, what do you think is going to happen? Oh, my son is now a domestic violence person and this, that, and the third. Well, maybe if you would have paid attention and listened to maybe what he was trying to talk to you about or something like that, there's little things. I'm not saying that that's the end all be all, but once again, that whole mantra, just that whole just toughen up and brush down the rug and be a man, don't show any emotions.
You think that plays a big part in domestic violence?
I think it does. You just said it was emotional, right? So if you as a man, if you're not displaying,
it is emotional.
If you're not displaying any emotions, and you're just building all that up, because if you don't display emotions, where's it going to go? It's not just going to go out in thin air. It's going to build up, right?
Run, go to the gym.
Some people do that, but they still have those things that they're hanging on to. Some people have demons that they hang on to from when they're children.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
I think most of it comes from there.
So when those things build up and you're like, just do, this, that, and the third, and it's like, you don't just get rid of it like that. And so when in that one instance, when something happens and that person snaps, then everybody's surprised, like, oh, I didn't know this was going on with them. I was like, well, did you talk to him? Did he come to you and ask you about something? Did you see if he was okay or whatever the case may be? So
it's all about a decision. You can't deny. You can't deny the fact that a decision has to be made,
right? But
good or bad.
But a decision that was based off emotion, right?
Right.
So,
and those are usually wrong,
right?
For the most
but
part.
If that emotion was never conveyed or anything like that, like the person wasn't able to convey that emotion, and it's just built up. Those demons just build up over time. That's all I'm getting at. It's just like, it's not on everybody to be aware for everyone else. Like, the person does have to show some effort. They can hang on to the demons, whatever they want to do. But if you notice it, just try not to go directly, but just see where they're at mentally. Something, I don't know. It takes all of 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, yeah. But I wanted to touch on this subject because I see the numbers going up. But I wanted to address why you think we're going in this direction.
Right.
But the next topic I want to discuss is what people can do that's going through this.
Mm-hmm.
The other side of it. The other side of it.
Well, I mean, the people are already going through it. More than likely, they're already in jail because the action's already been done, right? Are you talking about
No,
the
I'm talking
people
about
that
the people who are suffering it,
mhm.
getting abused, getting hurt, getting I want people to realize that this is serious. This is taking lives. This is taking kids' lives. This is and it's almost hereditary based on what we were talking about. That the kids see it in their home and it just carries on. That's what they're living through. They're living in trauma, so they carry it. But the thing is, you know, and what's so funny about this is kids can live in a good environment, but they don't carry that. It's it's obvious. It's kind of like when a kid is growing up and you're trying to teach them words. And the first time you say a bad word, they pick up on it.
Right.
They can repeat that bad word, but all the other words you're trying to teach them, you have to struggle with. So what I'm saying is, it's funny, but it's a lot too where behaviors growing up carry over into adulthood,
Yeah.
like you were saying.
Right.
So
Oh,
I get it.
right. Exactly.
I get it. I get it.
So it doesn't just
It's
happen out.
sad.
It doesn't happen out of nowhere. I'm like there's an origination. There's an origination point. There's an origin story for all of this. So
Other than social media.
yeah. Hey, I already said what it was. I already said what it was. You heard me say what it was. Let's go back to the
Yeah.
two that decided to do the tango and not be there for that person. Okay.
Okay. But no. It's a subject that I've just seen that's destroying a lot of families, communities. It's never really talked about um, outside of like family members seeing it happen. Where you communicate with a family member, then all of a sudden that communication lessens, and then you realize when everything pops off that they end up in an abusive relationship, fighting for their lives or lost their life and things like that. Um, and the numbers have gone up. It's definitely since COVID. The numbers have gone up drastically,
Mm-hmm.
and
Oh,
it's
I can tell you what that's about as far as that whole
go
COVID
ahead.
thing. That's more of a you're not used to being around your significant other for extended periods of time. There
No,
is
I'm not
100
laughing about it,
there
but
is
okay, you
100%
never really. Mhm.
factual evidence on that, and I wish I had known that was going to be something that was talked about since COVID, because that has been something that has been discovered that a lot of people don't really know who their significant other
Married.
is, right, that they're married to. And then once the epidemic happened, they're like, oh, this person is not who I thought they were. So that does play a huge factor into that as well. And those people probably didn't. I don't know. I don't know. I just know that's a thing. That's really a thing. That when that whole epidemic happened, a lot of people really found out who they were married to, and this, that, and the third.
Okay. But you got just boyfriend girlfriend relationships that they're not even living together short period of time, and it escalates to a point where that person's taking that person's life.
Mm,
That's just scary. That's very scary to me. And I thought it's a topic that needs to be addressed, and based on how things are going, we'll revisit this on either side of it. So um, I appreciate it,
hmm.
and you I hope you learned something today.
There was really
Uh,
nothing I needed to learn. There was really nothing I needed to learn. I just want to defend the viewpoint because I already knew what this was going to be. I already knew. Oh, these old people. Oh, we can't do anything wrong. We in the golden age. We can't do anything wrong. Really, really, really. It all comes back. It all
Really.
comes back. It all comes back. It originates at the source.
Well, no, no. Sometimes, like I said, you could be in a good home or you could be in a bad home. It doesn't matter.
It originates at the
It's a
source.
choice. It's a choice.
Mm-hmm. Choices of life.
Yeah, we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I appreciate the conversation. I
Yes,
hope you
sir.
got something out of it.
I,
And
I
any
don't know about all
questions,
that.
feel free to ask. Call me and
Yeah, you can call
ask
him.
me
Hey,
anytime.
you can call him. Don't hit me up because I'm gonna give it to you real.
And please subscribe, comments, or whatever. We encourage it. And anything you think I need to let him know, this young man Tack know, please put that in the comments as well.
Anyway, we'll see you all next week. Remember, this guy's a fake Dallas fan, and that's all I have to say. We're out of here. Later, everybody.
Peace.